11 days remain in the season of Yule. So, okay, morning paper. Pigeons reintroduced in the yard of St. Fiacres. Okay. Let's actually build the story first. We need to change around this. Give it a not so happy ending. Struggled with regret and... Actually, you know what? Let's change this. Spoiled beauty is unhappily married. A bohemian gentleman wrestles regrets. I mean, yeah, that's... Let's see. There we go. I think that will be a less happy ending. Let's recall the past. All the trees died? Okay. Yeah, let's look at that one. Nonsense! The trees were already half dead. Half? They'd been withering and losing leaves slowly. Now look at them. Overnight, they're all dead. And in some places, they're gone entirely. March 20th equinox. The days and nights are hardly equal now. There's a notice in the broadsheets about the phenomenon, and a profile of the Totteridge yew, the northernmost tree to have fallen with London. Overnight, something drank that tree to her dregs, consuming all that the sun had endowed, leaving only bitterness. Archie took the sheet away to pack medicine bottles. Okay, and I do also want to... I think we're good on that. Well, let me see. What stories do I have here? Heathborn. Let's try something else with the story, actually. Let's just clear everything out. Let's say... Oh, the king! Oh! The enchanted king came into the surf. Okay. Did not expect the Clayman King to be available here. Was between sailings. Say pined for a lost lover. Let's see. Oh. But no voyages were currently sailing. Found clean distant place to say. Seeking a distraction. Wrote poetry. Received the poem in the intended spirit. An itemized list of spelling errors and weak points. Wait, the Enchanted King noticed nothing? That what? That's not in the... Okay. None of this seems to be popping up with a new ending, but... Too unfamiliar social cues to comprehend the offer. No, is there... Pining for this? Let's try pining for the surface. And let's say the king was only interested in wealth and offered marriage. Accepted. Unhappily married. Regrets nothing. No, still nothing new there. Oh, maybe it'll work. We check. Continue romance. Latest plot work. Okay, yep, that's there. I do want to present the theory of the murder already. Let's see what he thinks about the idea of surface-dwelling relatives murdering him by post. Doesn't much matter what I'm wearing for this particular task. And if I bring Harjit a case that can't be brought to trial, he'll tell me that quickly so I can get something else done today. Hey! Otherwise, something might lead straight away to an arrest. So if I do this and he does the arrest, I won't be able to. Yeah, let's share the plot first. Because the way she mentioned that seems like there's kind of a time limit on that. You have a visitor. Intercept Phoebe and keep her in the room. Nah, let her go. Good to see you. Describe the flying beast at St. Albans. I was at the church when something enormous landed on the roof. Not a bat or an ordinary bird. It looked in on us from above for some time before it gave up and flew off. I go on for some time and make no effort to hide how frightening the whole business was. The description becomes more frank as I go on. I see. I am glad you told me. Brings up a legend common among the servant classes that the Neath contains many other fallen cities. They say it's just the way the floor of the deep ocean is covered with bones. When a leviathan dies, it sinks to the bottom, and there is no one to bury it. Plot of a misalliance. I have something for you. The inclusion of a Neath-born character is daring. I am not sure whether I'll be able to do it justice, but I will try. Let's see, shake up tradition, choose the ideal person to write it. You're the perfect person for this. Think you're exactly the person to write such a thing. There are limits to my powers, and sometimes it is a good thing to be aware of those limits. Nonetheless, it may be interesting to try. She looks at the rest. Ah, a misalliance. This. Marrying off my heroine to a Neath-born creature. There will be a scandal. The Ministry of Public Decency will censor the Lily of London. And if they don't, the readers will storm the publisher's office with pitchforks. Do it. But imagine how it would be talked about. Oh yes, talked about to no end, I'm sure. If I did write a story like this, I'd rather pair the Neath-born creature with a fair-haired, high-born Christian Rose. A demure damsel of the Church of England, Rowena rather than Rebecca. Otherwise, the reader might not see the story as an elevation of their kind, but as a slur on mine. Save it with humor. Yeah, let's go for it. What if it's not told seriously, but as humor, satire even? Picture your heroine sitting to tea with her new mother-in-law. The scene writes itself. I have seen very amusing cartoons that were as harmful as any serious libel, but a joke can't take the edge off shock. Friendship has a claim on me. I'm sure I'll regret this somehow. She's writing it. Okay. Okay. Although I think I can see how it might be done. It is so nearly impossible that it becomes easy again, in a way. So many obviously wrong ways to do it that only a small gap remains in which it becomes doable. Don't mind me, I may recant by tomorrow morning. Grizz and her employer may like this one too. Yeah, yeah, why not? Let's flirt. I know you like to research these matters, so if there's anything in this story that requires practice, I can only offer my assistance. If you continue like this, you might find some of your bon mots in my next novel. I have something for you. I don't know whether you'll care for it, but if you don't, it probably has some slight value. It was a gift, but for various reasons I don't quite dare wear it myself. I believe it's of devil make. A gleaming piece of brass jewelry. A Spirifer's fork. Showing my allegiance to yellow-eyed friends. Okay. Very interesting. Angel adds proper payment. My most wild and profuse gratitude. Oh, I kind of want to, but keep flirting. It is always a delight. Very good of you. Think nothing of it. There's more, if you can take it on from that point. I'll have some work to do, putting flesh on all these bones. And there are some points of motivation that I may alter slightly. But it can be used. It can certainly be used. Keep flirting. She seems to be in the mood right now. Alright. There's a connection between us now that we're working together. A shared effort that we share with no one else. Perhaps I'm alone in that. Goodness, intriguing. Okay. There's a chapter waiting for me to finish it. It has certainly been an enlivening conversation. Mm-hmm. Go for that. See what happens with this. Okay, I can just manage another errand today. Now let's go turn. Oh, build a story. We have a new one. Tell the story of a misalliance. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and build that out real quick. So between the spoiled beauty was married unhappily to the enchanted king. A spoiled beauty did something to enchanted king. Enchanted king did something in response. Okay. So I'm going to say she regretted the relationship. He loved hopelessly? I mean, okay, sure. She found someone else. He fled London? Rather than encounter the new couple. Happily lives in poverty, is infamous, lived a lie, regrets nothing, struggled with regret. It's miserably alone now, and happily loves another, maybe? Now let's see. Yeah, I mean, considering this is representing the main character, who is she's described as herself and her own people, so having her be a murderer would not go well, I'd think. But her finding someone else becoming happy, him becoming miserable, I mean, she said she wants it to end in from problem to problem. So, maybe lived a lie, or maybe instead of finding someone else, just ended the relationship. Yeah, that leaves room for conflict. He leaves. She lives a lie. He's miserably alone. Yeah, maybe that'll be like someone she's looking for. All right, now then, present the theory. See what he thinks about that. Though, let's see. So, okay, yeah, that will be devilish. I want something. Yeah, let's stick with that for the lapel. Let's go with the admiral's hat. It's going to be a little commanding. Although I'm curious what this says. Infernal beings and persons of notable soul. Okay. With flashy and amusing companions. Law-abiding citizens. Yeah, let's do this. Well, yeah. You are looking well. Present theory. Present the theory. I believe I know what happened and why. When I start to explain, however, Harzit stops me. Even if there was post-scent, we can't show it was poisoned. You don't have any witnesses of David perishing on reading the dangerous document, and it seems none was found afterward. Unless the jury are very gullible, we can't make anything of this. I couldn't persuade the court to take on this prosecution. Okay. Well, fine. Let's change the story up a bit, see if we can't get additional. So, stick to unknown methods. Okay. And let's just go with someone. And let's just go ahead and do unknown purpose, and someone. There's nothing there, so we can just... Well, let's go with... Yeah, let's just stick with that for now, see what options I have. Horatio, the rest of what I owe. Build friendship, take sensitive with Phoebe. No. No. Maybe I left too many blanks there. Let's just bring this back to David and died. And he wanted to return to the surface because he wanted his inheritance. Wait, that would otherwise come to David. So, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Let's just hope for wealth, maybe. see. A surface-dwelling relative did not think as humans do. Well, we don't know the motive. David dreamed of riches, sent word of the inheritance, and anticipating a windfall, David began planning a journey to the surface, since there was property there to support him. Surface-dwelling relative of the Landaus wanted David not to inherit. She resorted to poison. Okay. Now do I have some other options? Not here. Ivy's perspective on possible murder methods. I mean, it's something. Is anyone else? Archie about poisoning methods. You know, he did study poisons. He might know. Let's do it. Again, I don't want Harjeet there. He might clam up if Harjeet's there. Oh, right, because gentlemen's outfit. Let's do this then. No hat. Sailor stop. Perfect. You're taking a risk coming here without Harjeet. Again, if you don't watch out, they'll pack you up in the ungulate beside me. And then where will we be? I recount the newspaper story. A special shipment of pigeons from the surface has been released at St. Fiacre's. I infuse an edge of mockery into the whole. I won't be forgetting the fall in any hurry. Leave London's old ways are gone. Let's move lightly to new topics. Have you found someone to stand in for me here? I've been keeping a hammock warm for the true culprit if you can find him. I'm making progress. I'm nearly there. I've found out some very interesting things. Aye, so I can come home soon then. We'll see. And remember what I taught you, aye. When you're crafting a theory and there's something you don't know, figuring out which bits are still unknown, that'll let you ask the right questions. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about David's murder? Anything that might help you to clear my name, ask away. Possible poisons. What type of poison was it? Aye, I should have asked that. What I gave him was very gentle, just to settle the stomach. 10 times the dose would not have harmed him. All I know is that he died. But was it quick, with convulsions, or did it take longer? Did he go all blue around the mouth? As if he'd ate something unnatural? What would indigo coloration signify? Arsenic. They dye arsenic to make it easier to see, though in that case David might not have been inclined to eat it. But in the darkness, maybe people aren't looking as closely at their food. That could lead to a rash of poisonings. Not that people want to see their food at the moment. What would it mean if David had convulsions? Cyanide. It's very quick. It's a method for spies in political assassinations. If you're killing someone to keep a secret, the victim will not have time to speak. There might have been some other things in the house as well. Rachel might know. If she wanted to say, that is. Horatia's not been to visit. You do not know why? I'd hate to think she believes I'm guilty. It's not that. I'm sure that's not the reason. Isn't that what I would have thought she'd do? She's always said a great deal about us all being like family to her. For all that, family don't pay rent. Are you holding up all right aboard? The food doesn't hold up to Horatius. The hygiene's open to doubt, and you cannot understand the accent of half the men. And our good constable did not let me bring anything for the stomach or the lungs or the nightmares. The only comfort is, I do have a wee bottle of my own sleep compound. 2 drops of a night, and it's like to being transported somewhere else. Visit as often as you have a mind to. There's not much entertainment within. Let's detail theorizing, sure. He always finds a mystery in everything, even things that might be perfectly explicable. He also does his best to help where he can. Yes, this is what I want to be myself. Yeah, that sounds like a good thing, actually. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just go straight to the table. Arsenical cloth. Okay. Forgive me for interrupting, everybody. I have something I'd very much like you all to see. He was asking me about my work with Mr. Page's. I very much hope I am not about to be confronted with a version of him in clay. The dolls are lifelike, but imprinted with cheeky caricature that reflect the essence of the original. I hope these are to your liking. I took inspiration from a show near Hogs Lane Market I saw. It involved marionettes and what I took to be a crocodile. These are entirely charming, Mr. Moss. Yours has her nose in the air, Grizz. I did not notice that. Look, yours is wagging her finger, telling somebody off, no doubt. I believe she is emphatically making a point, that's all. I think these will do nicely, Mr. Moss. Or they will bring them to life. Plays upon his own puppet show. Now let's just agree with enthusiasm. They are a fine example of their craft. Oh, and you have so few to compare them to. I think they're wonderful. Indeed, even if I'd seen 1,000, I'd venture I'd find these 3 my favorite. I am glad my work has provided satisfaction. I suppose I have differed from my king's own project in one crucial respect, however. I could not keep from including your particulars in the project. You are all so fully formed already, I couldn't help but include your character. I would have preferred a blank slate. This was the correct approach. This is the correct approach. No, I think this was the right way to go about it. I am glad. Artistic expression of this kind is not encouraged in Polythreme. The conductor controls the choir, not the other way around. I am glad my humble efforts find favor here. Speaking of which, I must get back to my tasks. I don't wish to give Mrs. Chapman cause to fret. His voice is starting to make my throat hurt. Maybe I shouldn't have made it so gravelly, but with him being a clayman, that just makes sense. Lovable companion and antagonist. Okay. That's the same there. Anything new here? Eh, doesn't seem like it. I'm the first to the morning paper. The headlines today read, Come see Tristram Bagley's newest opera. Witness the rise of a prodigy. Okay. Glimpse something in a bit of mirror. Didn't I check that already? Maybe there's something more. Let's see. In a mirror, I saw something that wasn't my reflection. A Mongolian woman. She sat at a desk in a flooding palace, and the milky water had come level with her knee. She wrote in haste, her hands gory with ink stained and dimmed the firebirds embroidered on her sleeve. The glimpse of me goaded her. Ink bottle upset, blue-black bloomed in the floodwater. Okay. Let's see. Before I do that, let me go back into build a story, and let me see. We did pick up something new, right? New method, arsenical cloth. Okay. I mean, if it's arsenical cloth, then it can't be a surface roller. They would need to be down here. Maybe explore the idea of Phoebe loving David and ask David to stay below. I mean, again, we need to actually investigate the idea of the artisanal or arsenical cloth. Dyed a glorious shade of green. Did say something about green lips when we were digging in the grave. Maybe. Maybe. Oh wait, she pointed with a vibrant arsenical cloth, which somehow went unnoticed afterwards and left no marks on his skin. That detail makes it sound like this is not right. But let's just do this. Let's say someone. With unknown purpose, maybe? Wanted to avoid blame and promise not to know, maybe? The question of influence. Okay. I mean, that gives me something new. Let's see. Interrogate Rachel about David's lovers. Interrogate Phoebe about David's lovers. I mean, knew anything of David's romantic life. Milton about David's lovers. Now let's talk to Rachel about it. I feel like Rachel's the most likely to know anything at all. And we'll change. get through the introduction stuff there, and let's see. Yeah, let's talk about the mirror glimpses. The night of the fall, I saw something that wasn't my own face when I looked in the mirror. It was a woman in a flooding palace, and the sight of her alarmed me. Created some trust, okay. They say if you travel far enough through the cave, you'll find the ruins of Kitez. Okay. Let's just simply ask. Was David much of a man about town? Were there ladies expecting his attention? Charlotte Carringham. He was in love with her. She married someone else. Someone Christian and well-placed in society. I think she loves him still. Were they having an affair? No, she doesn't visit here, and David does not leave frequently except for services. He's been too ill. Do you have any art in you? Do you write or sing or paint? Love of music. Yes, let's say I love music. Music is my field. I tell her about my early training and my plans for what might to be. It's music that reminds me of the surface more than anything. You might think it would be painting that had that effect, but I don't find it so. Fascinating. I'm glad you've told me this. Why is it that whenever I see you, I feel you're noticing things I would rather hide? It should worry me, yet somehow it doesn't. You talk as though you mean to court. That is not a deterrent, merely an observation. Okay. Must return to my writing. Yeah, not time. Let's see. Did I get anything out of that? Anything new at all? No. Okay. So maybe... Hmm. Hmm. Could maybe do this? Phoebe and the Carringhams were both in love. Phoebe feared David would go back to the surface, leaving her behind, or otherwise ending their relationships. The Carringham sent her adulterous... Wait, her? Nope. Nope, that's not quite... Hmm. No, I don't think this works at all. Hmm. About... Riz doesn't have anything. Milton? See, they fought over Rachel. That would give him a reason to help. Sold contraband? Maybe. Oh, it fought Phoebe over Rachel? No. No, let's go back to this then. Let's say Milton unknown purpose. Don't really know what to put there. I can't put unknown, so let's just say David died. He had no choice. Fought over Rachel. then planned. David for Milton to fail in pursuit of Rachel. That's certainly true. Maybe. Well, I don't know. I can't. I have no proof that he did that though. But we have no proof of false. Maybe he just. Yeah, no. The fault over Rachel definitely seems like the right motive in stirring him to vengeance over it. But what action? Experimented with drugs? Or bought rare ingredients? I mean, if the idea is he went to market, then maybe this path will allow me to go to the market and see if Milton did anything there. The market. Interview Ivy about Milton as a suspect. Yep, that sounds good. Yeah, that should look fine, I think. Well, let's get the authority hat on. Morgan, it's good to see you. Let's just come straight to the point. I'm here for a reason. You answer questions about David Landau. Where I come from, we don't inform for free. You want me to remember something, it'll cost you tuppence. Okay, sure. I got money. Fair enough. I hear you were at the Landau townhouse the day David died. So I was, not that I knew it was his last day at the time. I was there to refurbish one or two of Rachel's gowns for her. It used to be your Rachel Landau's would never have their old gowns made over. But new cloth is dearer than hen's teeth now. You didn't see David while you were there? He was resting, not well enough to receive visitors. I did see Archie arrive. He might have left his bag of medicines unwashed for a time. But that's not what I was there for, was it? But you had no reason to kill him off yourself. I don't give secrets, I sell 'em. There'd be nothing in it for me. Unless you think I've such a dislike a gentleman that I'm clearing them out of the Neath. Do you know who killed David? No one's made me a confession of his murder, if that's what you're asking. Not sure what I'd do if they had. I've been listening to secrets people want to be rid of. I heard of an old Neath ritual of hollowness, and I thought it'd be a quick money spinner. But quite a few dark things came in. I don't care to be giving away every confession I've heard. Is there anyone else in the household you would suspect? You're determined it can't have been the doctor, then? There were one or two feuds in that house, but none that I'd see take this course. Did David have any enemies? Oh, the world knows the answer to that. Rachel Landau put him in her novel, didn't she? Him and his jilt Charlotte and her new husband, Lord Carringham. She has no idea of the value of a secret, that Rachel. Interesting. So, that's an idea. So, maybe the Carringhams sent the adulterous letters and then Rachel novelized it. But that sounds like they would want to kill Rachel, not David. Hmm. It's no easy thing, Rachel's business. I've had a little to do with it myself. You can hardly help pulling in people you've met here and there. Meat pie's gone scarce down here unless you mince a body up. But no law says you have to dine on pies. Lord Carringham's been suffering from the whispers in his circle. All about how his pretty young wife, Jewish as was, is pining in her heart for the man she used to love. And how she regrets her wedding to a chinless Christian stick. All the while, Charlotte's telling him how loyal and faithful and true she is to her lord and master. But she's dressing to catch the eye of half the men who pass. And what's more, she's setting me to carry letters secretly to David Landau, telling him she's still in love with him, begging him for a moment to speak. Time came, and I told Lord Carringham the truth. We are learning a lot from her. I should have talked to Ivy sooner. Jesus. Not very long before David's death, that would have been. It sounds as though he had a good reason to kill David. Carringham isn't a man for taking his own back. Weak liver in that man. When I showed him the copies of her letters, off he goes sick. Cast up his accounts right there with me in the room. But then he says he's sorry for his wife. Sorry for her. And what must he do but take her away as quick as may be, so she won't be tormented any more? Or tempted to break the vow she made at the altar or at the font? That was a treasure he found, that phrase for Charlotte's honor. Once he hit upon it, he kept saying it. I laugh. The joke of it faded afterward. Well, let that be. You've had your tuppence worth, I think. Okay. By now, Horatio will be wondering where I am. Just go straight to the table. Swapped drugs for poison. Made honest mistake. Thought poorly of gentleman. Was hired by someone rich. I've been getting new supplies. New supplies, yes. A humid, fleshy odor rises from the basement if I stop in the stairwell. A scent like hot bacon and the sweetness of ripe fruit. I am forbidden to visit. We are all, always forbidden to visit. Yeah, let's eat. Every day's meal is finer, richer, more exotic. It isn't just the meat. There are spices never seen on the pepper dock. Keep quiet and eat. That's all there is to that. Okay. Now then. Okay. I'm the first to the morning paper. Headlines read, Society abuzz. Rumors of forthcoming nuptials between people. Let's do our usual recalling of the past. Let's go with I didn't go to dinners. Are you ill, friend? You may find you have an appetite if you get out a bit. Take a walk and stretch the legs. Constable Harjit will take you if you want to go. Grateful for their concern. Thank you, I know it's kindly meant. But you'd prefer us out. I don't like to see you in this state. Come downstairs. We've said our piece. Best to leave it. Okay, we have new interesting things for the solutions. Let's see. So, let's put the Carringhams back here. Let's put... I can't put Ivy anywhere in here, but... maybe Phoebe? Let's see. Loved David and loved David. Let's try... confided about affair. Oh no, not revealed to Phoebe. That would not be it. Okay. Sent adulterous letters, trying to attract her attention? No, no, no. Faked it, no. Hmm. So maybe this does need to stay as David. Hmm. The Carringhams wished for unknown benefits. Okay, hold on. David. Loved David. David wanted freedom from his romantic expectations. Okay, no, so the action of swapped drugs for poison has to belong to the motivator, apparently. So, maybe... and Phoebe loved David, so I don't think she would do that no matter how much someone rich... Maybe Milton? Hmm. Oh, yeah, that would mean this would be the tainted drug. Okay. Milton swapped rat poison for the medicine Archie used. Possibly. Possibly. Hmm. Hope to end humiliation does make sense. I mean, after all, Mr. Carringham wants that. Mrs. Carringham sent the adulterous letters. But this would mean Milton was involved. I have no real proof of that. But someone there had to have done it. Rachel wouldn't benefit from it. Phoebe wouldn't benefit from it. Milton, though, Milton would have gained access basically to Rachel. So Makes sense that he would be the one. Okay, but he also knows that death is temporary in the Neath and that the poison would not have worked. Although the body... Again, I'm pretty sure that body was a clay man. So maybe he swapped the body out and was hoping to be rid of it. But then when David went missing, that's why Milton really asked about disturbing the grave. He was worried David may have dug up his corpse or something. I don't know. It's confusing as hell, but let's just see what happens here. Let me just check around. Oh, Milton as a suspect. I mean, maybe. Yeah, Rachel's not going to say anything bad about Milton, so Phoebe would be the best one to ask about Milton's involvement, I think. Again, I'm going to want that air of authority here, just in case I need to pressure her. You want to speak again? Yeah, just a moment. Chores enough. Okay, and I guess we're walking back to the graveyard. Yep. Flirt. Mention a notable marriage. Sure. Let's do some small talk. Sadly, the paper lacked details on the projected menu. Instead, the end of the piece transitions to scandalous comment on other society persons only distantly related to the couple in question. I make the story as engaging as I can. Oh, that's nothing. Why, once I was in the mistress's room and... Oh, I shouldn't talk out of school. And it was in one of my other houses besides. They always were monsters society. Now it just shows a bit more. Doesn't matter, okay. Don't mind me. Did Rachel tell you about the second corpse? The night after David died, there's a dead body outside the servant's entrance. It looked like it had been going through our rubbish. It was stone dead, face down on the rubbish heap. We need to search that. And when I say face, that's exactly what it hadn't got. Just a mass of, I don't even know what, meat for the front of its head. What became of him? I need to investigate, now. I wouldn't have thought it of her. But Rachel Landau has more stomach than most. She put a bag over its head so it wouldn't give everyone such a turn. And then she and the others washed the body just like they'd done David's, and paid for it to be buried at a Christian grave. How did they know the religion of the corpse? That's a good question. Was the deceased a Christian? Oh, as to that, you just have to guess in such circumstances. There was not so much as a coin or scrap of paper in his pockets. That's if he was a person to start with, which I don't know. Rachel Landau said vermin must have got hungry and ate his face right off his body. But he didn't look like a normal person that'd been a bit nibbled. That was kind of her to do, especially in the circumstances. Oh, if you're thinking she might have sent the body to the butcher, she would never. The Landaus were always particular. Plenty of folk wouldn't think twice. Would Milton have had a reason to kill David? And not a reason that would have mattered to any civilized person, but the two of them didn't care for one another. Milton was always hanging around Rachel and prying into people's business. And I'd not put it beyond him to kill David out of malice. I wish fate had not inflicted this inquiry on us both. Was David much of a man about town? Were there ladies eagerly watching at their windows in case he paid a call? A Lady Carringham was sending him love letters up to the day he died, and it might be Lord Carringham took exception. Hmm. Nothing new there, but maybe that does give me a new answer for. Thought poorly of gentlemen, maybe? I mean, if I go to Ivy, she's gonna charge me again. Hmm. But she might know better than anyone else. And again, I probably cannot trust Rachel to be unbiased when it comes to Milton. Good afternoon, citizen. There's something I wish to discuss. The devil Milton was at the Landau's house when you were there, wasn't he? Did he have a reason to do this? He had a taste for Rachel's company, and David Landau didn't care for it. I don't know whether that was reason enough for him. It would have been reason enough for some. Yeah, okay, well, I didn't have to pay more, so let's see if you have anything else good. Hmm. Yeah, not really. There's no other kind of work you do. Here's the thing about working in the houses of fine ladies. They leave their letters lying about and tell themselves you can't read. They gossip about their affairs and fancy that you're deaf. Well, I have a rule, and it shows a generous and charitable spirit at that. First time you forget I've got eyes and a brain? No harm. I shut my minces and I keep my Hounslows clamped. But do it again, your secrets are mine, and my secrets are my living. Good thinking. The owner of a secret doesn't know when it's been stolen. As you can see, better to be able to take an opportunity when it's offered than to make a plan. Plans break. Oh, she's taking me, huh? Okay. Okay. Might ask you to pretend you're buying something. Should comment loud on how good the workmanship is. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Why not? Now there's an idea. Can't think what I'd like better. And ooh. If anyone asks when you're rubbing elbows in good company, you can tell them you got it from me. Trusting you to spread the word. If they ask, I charged you a good high price and you were glad to pay it. Or they'll say old Ivy's gone soft in the head. Hey! Elegant cloak. Inspires lofty attitude and inclination to protect the weak. Okay. Free cloak. I'll take it. I wonder. Let's see. The cloak and the hat lay claim to wealth and command. Okay. Yeah. How is the new feast coming along? The masters have been planning a celebration for the whole city to coincide with Valentine's Day. The organization is a disgrace. The supplies are insufficient, and their distribution through the city leaves a great deal to be desired. Excellent! I beg your pardon? Ah, it just sounds so invigorating for you, Miss Griselda. It's obviously meant as a distraction, obviously. I suppose everyone is meant to forget that it's a year since the fall. It has nothing to do with that. I don't think Mr. Pages remembered the significance of the date until I reminded him of it, in fact. Hmm? Still haven't picked up anything new to put in the stories, though. Just confirmation that Milton didn't like David, and that Mr. Landau wanted the embarrassment to stop. Today's headline, Swedish sailor's mission offers aid, sustenance to squid-faced men. Let's look at Horatia and Grizz's relationship pre-fall. What a remarkable painting, Miss Chapman. You're kind to say so. Am I supposed to... Okay. Oh, there we go. We're zooming out now. What the... I can see why she changed clothes. That doesn't look right on her at all. The lion's expression is very amiable. Oh, I recognize the source of the painting. It looks American, judging by the clothes and the landscape. No, the trees don't look terribly English, do they? The painting depicts the peaceable kingdom. The lion shall lie down with a lamb, and a little child shall lead them. Ah, scripture, it's not Leviticus, that's the book with all the putting to death. Isaiah, the painting was a gift to my father from Quaker friends. Hmm. Now, at this point, I'm thinking maybe I should just swap Milton over here. Well, no, because we don't have an actual motive for David that lists here. Hmm. But to swap drugs for poison has to be a motivator, so someone had to do it. Could the Carringhams have... Hmm. Hmm. But again, that's not... doesn't work that way around. Hmm. I mean, yeah, the Carahams and Milton are kind of the most likely suspects I have at the moment. Maybe that's just because I haven't actually tried much of anyone else here. Would Archie have done it? Milton meddled. Oh! Wanted to save patients. Bought rare ingredients, because I know he bought opium. Hmm. Okay. But also possibly Caringham's regretted the relationship. Now that would make sense, doing it this way. Yes. Yeah, let's see what Harjeet thinks about that. You're looking well. Yeah, let's mention the worst Swedish sailor's mission. I do not understand how these so-called devils can claim a man's soul. I have met a man who claimed to have sold his, but he still walked. I believe it is a lie intended to frighten us. Yeah, let's see what he thinks of the church. Let's see what this gets us. I talk up how relieved I will be to be rid of a sanctimonious church. It doesn't matter to him. Okay. I should say a bit more about myself. Okay. Sure. Difficult childhood. Describing family histories I've done before. Outrageous, silly events. Yep, the same thing that happened with Rachel. Okay. Impressive indeed. You are an inspiration to the neighborhood. I hope they will take notice and emulate you. Does not say it, but I have often noticed. He's the one the neighborhood children notice. Just yesterday, a little boy put on a blue coat and strode several times around the courtyard. It seems I have passed some test. Yay? Theory. In what you're bringing me, you're sure of it. Don't bring me a story that you want to change. Whatever you bring me, I must take to my superiors. Yeah, I do like this. It makes sense, I'm sure. Complete with means and motives. Get a good night of sleep. Do whatever else you mean to do. Tomorrow, the case will be heard. Yay! Okay. Wait a minute, does that mean, is this going to just immediately end the season of Yule? Should I have waited until the last day so that I could maximize? Well, we'll find out. It's time for one more errand. I've got 5 coins. Let's just go ahead and pay Horatio the rest of what I owe her. It'll put me broke, but a debt should be paid. Whatever, it's fine. Horatio's in the basement. Good afternoon, my friend. I hope the Neath isn't treating you too badly. Not doing a grumpy greeting. Come on. This is more than a social call. Here, you're owed this. I'm not used to having to work. Oh, I love this cloak already. But no, I'm going to thank her for her help. I'm grateful you gave me so long. It's what we do here. Who is your family? What is your... Oh, this again? Ah, when you say we, who is included? This hat, I need to stop wearing it. We, us, this group of boarders. Chapman's is home to me. I cannot imagine another. Then I hope it will remain so. I'm not going anywhere. Some of the lodgers may come and go if I can't prevent it, but they'll seldom leave against their will, I hope. It's good to know your own. In God's sight there is no east or west, but we can't help nor rely on those who are too far from us. I mean, I feel like I've been changing who I am too much. Let's again, with Archie, I've decided I am going to just be inquisitive. But with this, let's just be platonic intentions, or should we just be friends? Yeah, let's be friends. She's a nice person. Let's be friends. I see you as one of my closest friends. I have a lot of people in my life who are friendly. The butcher, the neighbors, my lodgers, half the parish of St. Albans. You want to matter in my life in a different way to that, you need to work alongside me. Maybe don't even think of it as rent. Maybe contribute the way you would to a family household. That's what I need and don't have, and I know not everyone's got that to offer. I haven't always done that, I know. I know some people need looking after, and I don't hold that against them. And for a while, you weren't ready to look after yourself after the fall. That's okay. We all had a bad time. Then I'd like to be friends. Shake the hand. Okay. I hear you've been speaking with Miss Landau. More than you need to just for taking the census. She jealous, she's interested, and I'm interested in return. Yes. Yeah. That's the signs are there, I agree. I'd have a caution about courting her if that's what you're doing. Her heart's been through a great deal with David dead and coming back. Whatever she might feel about you now, it'd stand to change when the wounds heal up a bit. I will bear that in mind. Okay. Illush. Okay. I cannot come along to the trial. If you can't bring Archie home afterwards, well, come and tell me immediately. I want to send him something in prison for his last meal, if it is his last meal. Okay. Think we'll go through the trial and then I will call that done for the day.